So I think largely the point behind second, third, fourth grade is that I'd already been fragmented enough that the over punishing just added to it. To what was already going on. And I only remember my childhood, the entirety in fragments, like scenes. I don't remember a lot of second, third, and fourth grade. And none that's really worth mentioning. It's just more spanking and basic shenanigans that you'd find in any other family. So that's why I really didn't mention a whole lot about that. I just don't remember. So the next segment, though, that I do remember, excuse me, besides going back to Indian Hills when we moved back up Mint Creek, my dad, I had approached him in fourth grade before we moved, while he was building a house and learning a business. I didn't know that at the time, of course. I was 9. But I approached him about playing the violin. I didn't know what a violin was other than what I'd seen when they presented. I just knew I wanted to play. So we were not in a financial position that year, and he asked me to wait until the following year. And I did. And I was blessed with a fantastic teacher. Fantastic. I started playing violin when I was 10 years old at Indian Hills. My teacher's name was Francie Birdsall. I had played a little bit of piano in first grade, enough to learn how to read music, know where middle C was and what half steps and whole steps, and I could find my way around, right? So it was very easy to transpose what I'd learned onto the violin, and I jumped ahead very quickly. When I was 12, I played Vivaldi's Concerto in A minor, and that was my first concerto. I remember the first time I performed at Indian Hills, we were all lined up in a row playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and whatever else there was in our little Suzuki method book. But I just remember I was so scared that I was going to make a mistake. My knees were knocking, I thought I was going to pee my pants, and the adrenaline and all of those things that you learn to make work for you. As I performed more and more, became more seasoned performer and competitor, I also used to compete. And this was something that my dad supported completely. He was at every major performance I ever played. During track season, the only sport that I ever played, track, I remember him speeding me from wherever the track meet was. One time it was at Highland High School, which is way on the other side of town, to get me to Idaho State for symphony. Not rehearsal, the symphony, and I'm changing from my track clothes into my black and whites in the front seat of the Volkswagen on the way there. And my dad taught me how to look out for police officers because we were speeding. And Greg Freed, the conductor at the time, giving me that scowl as I came onto stage a little bit late. Not intentionally, I just ran a track meet. Sorry, you know, what are you gonna do? But, or the time that I played the Bumblebee competing for a summer camp scholarship, and my violin, that one of the strings popped out of tune, even though I'd tuned it twice, and so I had to adjust playing the Bumblebee. If you've ever heard the Bumblebee, it moves very quickly, and I had to adjust, which I did. But my dad, he could hear it, and he goes, "Well, better luck next year." And then I won third. If Stephanie Tripp and Becky Edwards were playing, competing, Becky came in first, Stephanie Tripp came in second, and I came in third. It was like clockwork. They were both very talented violinists, and they inspired me. In fact, the last concerto that I perfected it's called Scene de Ballet by DeBarrio, and I wanted to play it because I sat there and listened to Becky Edwards play it, and it was the most beautiful. I was just enamored. All I wanted to be was a concert violinist. I wanted to go to Juilliard. And I just wanted to play my violin. Boy, a lot happened in that period of time that led to a point of changing the trajectory of my life, you know, for good. But it ended up saving my life in a lot of ways, so I don't have any regrets. And I can still play that. I wasn't expecting that. There's a lot of emotion connected to that. So in the meantime, my dad also taught me how to mask houses, interior and exterior. And I learned how to set up ladders. You know, you pull the pulley thing so you can get to the second floor, and set up the little L joint things so, you hook them on to the, I can't remember what they were called, but you hook them onto the ladder so you can put the plank through so you can walk, without having to keep moving the ladder. You just have your plank. And there were a lot of second story homes. We did mostly new construction. There was some that we did that was, people lived there. That was mostly exterior, that wasn't interior, but I was the best masker my dad had, and again, it just went into the pot. He didn't pay me. I worked for him when he couldn't afford to pay, right? But it was my escape, and I loved doing it. My dad could drop me off at a site, and I'd have the house half-mast by the time he got back, and he'd start on this side, and I'd be masking the other side, and then I'd tend the airless, and it was just, we were a good team. There's one time my stepmother came thinking that she was gonna, get in on the fray, and it was odd, because I just felt like she was in my territory, and yeah, bitch, this is someplace you can't compete. And she couldn't. It was my world. I was good. I always got the tape in the right spot, except one time on a contractor's house, and my dad, in one spot, and my dad looked me square in the eye and said, "Stephanie, if you get the tape in the wrong spot, we don't get work. We don't get work."